Hello, my wonderful friends. It's me again, and it's time for another story. A fantastical Neckbeard story. I always say that, but I don't read these until I'm reading them with you, so I don't actually know that. I just really like to think that everything you guys make is fantastic. I'm a little sentimental tonight, so. Anyway, this is Reddit user RiviBeavy. I don't think I'm saying that right. RIVIEBIVIE, Revive, Bavive? I don't know, dude. Look, I'm not smart, okay? Can we just establish that? Anyway, let's continue. This is, Neckbeard / nice guy manipulates me and threatens to, well, can't say that on YouTube, when I cut him off. Yeah, okay. This is gonna be an interesting one, then. Hoo boy. Buckle in, kids. I think it's about to get ugly. Hi, Moonhorse. Hello. I found your channel recently, and I thought you might like my story. Well, I'm certain I will. It's not as eventful or as heavy as many of the stories you read. I love any kind of story. You're totally fine. But I feel like my story could help others. That's the most important part. I'll start by saying that I have MS, and due to the MS, I can't completely control my hands. I'll try to fix typos, but I'm sure I'll miss some. I mean, that's fine. If there's anything, I can check it. Don't worry about it. I did post this in r/nice guys, and I sent it to Redx, but I have added some events that I didn't in those, and I thought you might enjoy a fairly light story. I do enjoy a good story. As our cast, Tasha, she's 20, female, my best friend. Ashley, 20, female, Tasha's best friend. I don't think she'll be mentioned too much. Jason, 19M, my amazing boyfriend, who's the reason I woke up to what is happening. Me, 19F, the friendly young idiot, your bumbling OP. MA, 22 male. MA is the nice guy or neckbeard of this tale. Manipulative ass, or MA, is how it'll be referred to. MA is a great example of a guy who lacks the self-reflection to even call himself a nice guy, or pull the typical neckbeard stuff. Tasha and I have been friends since last year when we started college together, and she introduced me to Ashley. We got along just fine, and the three of us hung out occasionally. One of these hangouts, I don't remember, is when I met Ashley's brother, MA. MA and I got along well enough, and we became friends. We hung out frequently, and I even added my boyfriend, Jason, to these hangouts. It was all great, until MA began coming to me with what seemed like every mental health issue. I've battled with depression since I was young. Same. And I thought that I could help him by being a friend. He seemed like such a cool dude. These issues often had to do with a lack of friends and bad experiences with women. MA told me how most of his friends left him. When talking about it, he mentioned how several of his old female friends thought of him as a creep. Ooh, that's a bad sign. I did find this odd, as he'd often make it sound like he was completely blameless. And there's bad sign number 2. Now, I'm naive, I'll admit that. But I'm not stupid enough to just accept this as truth. But I ignored it at the time because he'd been such a great friend. I wasn't used to having male friends, as, like most girls experience. Too many of them develop feelings that I did not return. And I know that the same situation could occur with female friends. I've just never really had it happen to me specifically. That being said, I was so excited to have a guy friend. We'd hang out, we'd drink, I'd smoke. And I know that letting myself get inebriated was stupid, but I thought I could trust MA. Okay, it's not, though. Like, you actually thought you could trust this person, and that's fine. It's only with hindsight that this seems like a bad idea, but you didn't know that at the time. So, some people may blame you. I'm not going to be one of them. You just didn't know, and that's totally acceptable. One evening, we're doing just that. He had a few drinks, wanted to smoke, so I agreed. I was high by this point, and was too out of it to care much. I told him he could sleep on the couch in the living room. He agreed, took a blanket, and left. Imagine my surprise when I woke up to see him next to me. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's, no. I must have said something, or given him a look, because he said, I couldn't fall asleep on the couch, so I just came in here. I asked him, said it was fine. Okay. I have my doubts. I was quite weirded out, but I chalked it up to high me just being stupid. Over time, I realized a few things. One, I'm a very light sleeper, especially when it comes to my bedroom door opening. 2, I didn't remember talking to him. Granted, I had been fairly out of it, but there's absolutely no way that I woke up and had a full exchange without remembering it. I told my boyfriend, who also thought it was very weird. I did just let it go since I didn't really know how to approach it with MA. Stupid, I know. The next thing that made me double think our friendship. Because of some vague memories from my childhood, I do not like to be touched, especially without me initiating it, especially by guys. I'd mentioned this to MA when he sprung a surprise hug on me that I wasn't expecting, and it caused me to freeze up. I thought that after it was addressed, everything would be just as it had been before. We agreed that we're good friends. I was wrong. One afternoon, we were, as usual, hanging out at my apartment, one of my 2 days off from my nearly full-time job in university. We're watching some show that I hadn't wanted to watch, but he kept pushing. While we're watching, he grabs my hand. I just want to mention that I was always firm and clear that I was in a relationship, and he'd even hung out with my boyfriend and I. That being said, I froze briefly before figuring out a way to casually take my hand back. I didn't want to make him feel bad because I knew he'd flip it into, I'm such a bad person, I shouldn't be... Wow. I'm such a bad person, I shouldn't be living... Yeah, that's emotional manipulation 101 right there. There it is. It's called guilt tripping, and it's bullshit. Don't do that. As most issues did. After he'd left, he texted me a few messages about ideas for future hangouts. In one of the messages, he said, I think you're the only person I've held hands with that wasn't like a prayer or something. I remember thinking that we didn't hold hands. He grabbed mine without asking, and I pulled it back once the brief panic faded. I responded with a paragraph reminding him several times that I do not like to be touched and how I couldn't even stand to hug my younger brother until recently. He responded by saying he wanted time away from me until he had gotten a hold of his mental health. I encouraged this and I thought it'd be helpful. I also knew that I'd be stressed out a lot with the nearly daily text exchange. During all of this, I was recovering from a hospital stay that revealed that I have an aggressive form of MS. He asked to come over several days a week to help me out. This help often included him making me watch shows that I didn't find funny or amusing, smoking, and lamenting about not helping more. When he actually did help me with various things, he'd push me to do extra. Often this was during various calls between hospitals and doctors when I was in too much pain from my spinal tap to sit, or to walk, or to move much beyond laying down and bathroom trips. His texting also ramped up during this time. For every one text I'd send him, he'd send me like 5 or more, usually filled with self-deprecation and apologies. This became too much for me as I was struggling with depression that made me content to reside in bed for days and not eat for much of the same amount of time. Yeah, I know that feeling. He would acknowledge that such constant messages were what made his previous female friends cut him off. But he'd return to the same behavior a week later. If you're wondering how our nice guy got his name, MA was extremely manipulative. No, I gathered. It took many cycles of the text routine as well as random things that made me realize that I was being manipulated. Jason was key in this, as when MA would do something that made me uncomfortable, I'd consult Jason. MA didn't have a lot of the typical characteristics of a nice guy because he made you think that he was such a good person, but only to loop you into the cycle of manipulation. I do think that he viewed whatever helping he did as a transaction that justified coming to me all the time. Whenever he would begin his routine text about depression and anxiety, a big theme would be, I don't even help you enough, or I feel bad for not helping you, I can't do anything, I just shouldn't be alive. Oh my god. Yeah, no, I recognize this behavior. I would try to help, but this was a lot to put on anyone else. Reminder, I'm barely able to walk without falling, and I was in excruciating pain most of the time, and was dealing with hospitals and doctors after being diagnosed with MS. MS diagnoses are catastrophic. Even though you can live a completely normal life, finding out at first brings your entire world down. You grieve for yourself. You grieve for the things that you're no longer able to do. I only say this to explain my mental state at the time. I totally understand, dude. It's fucked up and it's hard. And I'm so sorry you're having to deal with that. His constant texts were overwhelming, and I'd explain this, and he'd apologize, and then turn it into how he was such a bad person. Finally, I just stopped responding. He and I had talked the day before, and I agreed to try our friendship again before Jason would say that he saw these same red flags that I did. And Jason isn't a jealous guy. He trusts me, like I trust him. Anyway, he simply helped me consider if I was willing to continue a friendship in which my boundaries are constantly disregarded and crossed. Ultimately, I didn't. He has texted me several times since, the last one being the worst. He said, "I'm sorry, I promise you're the last person I'll ever hurt, and if I can't keep that promise, I'll make sure I can't hurt anyone else again." Yeah, there's that emotional manipulation. There it is. Okay, I don't know about you, but I read that as using self-ending to get a reaction from someone. Yeah, no, I got that. It's fucked up. It's what we call it in the business. It's fucked up. That was actually what made me want to post this. Manipulating asses come in many forms. But please always speak up when you're uncomfortable, and please leave if it continues after you voiced your discomfort. I also give no fucks about him finding this. My username contains a common nickname for my uncommon name, so I know if someone found this, I'd be easily identified. Honorable mentions. Jason and I were, at the time, working on getting a D&D game going. We agreed that I'd DM as a writer. I would enjoy writing these campaigns. M.A. was one of the group. He decided he'd help me DM. When I said that I wanted to do this by myself, he kept pushing. Ultimately, I just said whatever and gave up. That evening, he texted me saying something along the lines of, "If you want to do it on your own, you can." Insert bitch boy noises here. I'm non-confrontational to the point that it's quite impossible to me, so I just said whatever. When I had voiced my discomfort and irritation for the first 1,000 times, he steamrolled my decision. He professed his feelings to me, knowing that I had a boyfriend and that I didn't have male friends for precisely this reason. Anyway, he told me on my birthday, and did so in his usual pick-me-boy manner. Oh my god. It was a lot of, "I'm sorry, I'm such a bad friend," and implying that I wouldn't be his friend anymore. Basically, I said I don't care. You know I have a boyfriend, and as long as you don't try to change that and can accept that friendship is all I can offer, or all I ever will offer, we're good. I don't really know why he told me to begin with, knowing this. He said he was really bad at hiding his feelings, but it was pretty obvious. I cannot stress this enough, but I hate being touched, in any capacity. If I don't initiate it, don't fucking touch me. When I was first diagnosed, he would grab my arm when I was walking. This was fine for a little bit, as I did genuinely need help, but once I was better and could walk a bit without stumbling or falling, he just kept doing it. I'd pull away and keep going, but he'd do it again the next day, and the next, and the one after that. I didn't realize how angry that made me until I wrote this. He'd make me watch shows I didn't want to watch, in my apartment, on my fucking TV. I'd make my disinterest clear by never laughing or entertaining myself on my phone and generally not paying attention. He would literally tell me to watch or tell me that I needed to see this episode and that it was just as funny as all the others, except, it's not. He would greatly overstay his welcome. Sometimes he'd come over on days when I was with my boyfriend, stay until 8, because he's so comfortable around a couple that was cuddling on the same bed, and we were obviously making out whenever he'd leave the room. We dropped many hints about him leaving, and he just never picked him up. Essentially told me that I didn't suffer from mental illness the way he did. Oh, God, we're going no true Scotsman on this, are we? As previously stated, I have anxiety and depression. Like many, and from families that don't think that depression is a thing as long as your basic needs are met, I've never been to a doctor for my depression. But I don't need someone to tell me when I'm depressed when I go a week without eating or pull apart a razor to... I can't finish that sentence, but I know where you're going. But because I'm so good at forcing a happy exterior and so nice and bubbly, I can't possibly struggle the way he does. Yeah, dude, I feel this. I went many years. It's... Ben Folds put it best. There's a song called Best Imitation of Myself, and yeah, that's pretty much the way it is. You're just pretending to be you, only happy, but you're not. And eventually you get really fucking good at pretending to be that way. Yeah, it's common. I know what you're feeling. He wasn't a typical neckbeard in the sense that his hygiene was decent, but dear God, I hate how he smells. I don't know how to explain it. His scent, it's not bad, was choking to me. He also sometimes had a beard. It's quite full, but he looks weird with it. Like a little boy who glued a mountain of pubes to his face. Well, as we say on the Moonhorse channel, it's not about the fedora you wear, but the fed-aura you exude. And the fed-aura this guy is exuding is the size of a fucking planet. Yeah, no, he totally fits the bill. Don't worry about that. He would insist on helping me monetarily no matter how uncomfortable I was. I hate people giving me things, especially money, as it makes me feel like I owe them in whatever way. He made me take my cat to the vet, saying she had a scratch on her eye. My cat has had super watery eyes since birth. I tried to say this, but he wouldn't let it go. So she didn't have a scratch on her eye. The vet said that she has what is essentially cat herpes. I didn't know that was a thing. There's nothing that can really be done about it, so there goes $40 that I needed for rent, and he insisted on paying the rest. When I got her fixed, he thought it'd be cool to also get other things done, such as a microchip. He paid for this, and I said I'd just pay him back when I could. Yeah, he wanted me to pay for things I planned on putting off until the summer when I'd have more time to work, ergo, have more money. Yeah, that's another form of manipulation, making you dependent. That's, yep, pretty fucking common. Thought it was fine to ask Jason about how I was doing medically. I'm not talking to you, so you think it's okay to ask my boyfriend about my personal medical information? Yeah, he's blocked by both of us now, and after I post this, I'm going to ask Tasha not to tell him anything about how I am. Totally understandable. The fallout. Last month I got a call from Tasha. She said that he was saying things about him being such a bad person, that's why I wasn't friends with him anymore. I told her what happened, and she told me that she was sorry he put me through what he did. Despite this, she felt bad for him, thinking treating me the way that he was really him reaching out for help. I believe wholeheartedly that M.A. knew exactly what he was doing. Jason, though, says that he thinks M.A. is so manipulative that he's manipulated himself into not seeing it. Have I mentioned that I love that guy with my entire heart? I think it's all over now, but you never know. If he tries to contact me again, I'll tell him exactly where he should go. Anyway, I'm hoping getting everything out will help me with all the trauma I've been through from this asshole. I don't hate him, as he doesn't deserve that much emotion from me. I do, though, hope he drops the 90-pound weight on his foot and his little noodle arms can't pick it up. That's a very specific insult, but I like it. Your anger in this is totally justified. No, he's really 100% being like an absolute manipulative asshole. And yeah, no, I feel that. All these things are very common tactics from incredibly manipulative people. I've had ex-friends who are like that. I've had generally just exes who did that kind of shit. It's a lot of emotional manipulation. And then the random, like, oh no, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make everything better. I'm going to make this better, make that better. That's love bombing. It's pretty common. It's this idea that now you feel like you owe them because they've been oh so nice. They're not being nice out of an act of selflessness. They're being nice in order to get you to lower your defenses and to do whatever they want you to do. Yeah, no, this is, it's disgusting behavior, but it's not surprising. So I'm glad that you were able to see through that, and there's a lot of resources online that can help you with people like that. This is a fairly common form of manipulation. This idea of just doing these things like this is, yeah, I've seen this a lot. His random need to confess his feelings towards you. I know that it seems like to you, you have no idea why he did that, and honestly, I think I do know why he did that. The idea was that he was hoping that you would feel guilty. That you're with someone, but you know that this person likes you oh so much, and oh, he's so compassionate. His thought process was that you would eventually leave your boyfriend and be with him because, you know, he's just being so nice. Yeah, that's, it's pretty fucking evil, dude. No, don't do that. Don't do that shit. So, yeah. I agree with you, 100%. That is some straight-up manipulation, and I'm really glad that you've gotten out of this situation. I'm sorry that your friend hasn't been able to see through that yet, but sometimes it does take time. And as for everything else, I hope that you're doing okay, and, you know, the Moon Cult is always here to help out whenever you need it. That's what we do here. I love you all so very, very much, and that is the end of this episode. And if you enjoyed this, please make sure you do the whole like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I don't know why I did like the double snap and point. You can't see me. I don't know why I'm doing this. I keep doing it, though. There's something wrong with me. Anyway, I have a Ko-Fi, and I have a merch store, and both of those help support this channel, so I keep doing stuff like this. I also have my own subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories, which is where this and many other stories came from. Every Saturday there is a live stream, so it's like this, only I'm like live, and you can yell things at me. Text. It's not actually, you can't like yell, but you can just be like, you know, hey, that shit unicorn's at it again, haha. So, you know, you can do that. I wouldn't advise it. It's rude, but haha anyway. And it seems like there was another thing, but I don't remember what it was. So, yeah. Alright. I'll see you guys in the next episode. I love you all. Goodbye, everybody.